Welcome everyone to the Historic and Architectural Review Board of Radnor Township, PA, meeting for Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. First order of business is call to order. Next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag.
United States of America,
United States of America.
to the
and
republic,
the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty
and justice for all.
Okay, our next order of business is old business. Harb 2021-01A. 418 Woodland, Wayne, PA. First floor addition, including back stairs. Does not include previously approved side porch. I would like to share again some basic background on this property. Radnor Township records say is a contributing property. It was built between 1885 and 1889. The architect was J.C. Worthington. The builders were Wendell and Smith. Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey says it is a gabled inn. Please introduce yourself and share your revised plans with us.
Hey, good evening. This is John Alexander. I'm the homeowner of the property 418 Woodland Avenue. It's nice to see you guys again. We're back to share a slight modification of our project. So, in the spirit of time, I'll just jump right to the specific changes and, invite any questions that you may have. I'm sharing on the screen the supplemental packet that we put together. The first couple pages are the overview. But if you jump to page 5, this is the rear elevation of the property. And over on the left-hand side, where the staircase and back entrance is, this is modification. In the prior design, we had a porch that extended out beyond the northern facing side of the house. So just a small modification and pulling the porch in. The entrance to the rear of the home is off the coming off the back as well. So this page is again the rear elevation. The best place to see the changes on page 7. Here's the side, which is where the porch was. You can see we're kind of maintaining the the architectural details, windows, and the various roof lines and gables there. So that's the adjustment. And I think most importantly, just based on previous questions, from the front elevation, now when you previously were able to see the porch, you will no longer see any of the addition. The sight line and the line of the addition aligns up with the the front face and the northern side of the property. So nothing is visible from the street as far as our project goes.
I have one question. This addition, its total square footage will be 490 square feet?
That's right.
Okay. And the building area is 2,395 square feet living, according to Delaware County property records. So in my opinion, obviously no question in asking.
I make a motion that we allow this revised design to be substituted for the original certificate of appropriateness.
Any other further comments from the board? Okay. We have a motion for certificate of appropriateness. And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Lisa? The motion was seconded. I also say yay. The motion carries. The board recommends a certificate of appropriateness. Thank you, John, for presenting to us today and your revised plans.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Next order of business is new business. 348 Luella Avenue, Wayne, PA. Two-story addition with covered porch, restoration or replacement of windows, stucco and roof, removal of chimneys. Before we get into the presentation, I would like to give some basic background on this property. According to Radnor Township records, they say it is a contributing property. It was built in 1926. The architect was Paul Davis. According to Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey, it says that the architects were Davis, Dunlop, and Barney, who did alterations, and also Barney and Bandwell, who did alterations. Delaware County property records say the building area is 3,708 square feet. The exterior walls are masonry. Please introduce yourself and share your plans.
Hi, I'm Juliet Kozak. I'm the architect on the project. The owners are also on here, Paul and Lindsay Schuster. So I can share my screen. Okay. Can you all see the present? Okay. So here's the existing house from Luella. As you can see, it's kind of a Tudor revival style. We understand that it was originally built a little earlier than 1926, but the Tudor styling happened in 1926, and we actually have some of those original plans. But as you can see, it has a large gable, front bay, and then a big covered porch. So it is a corner property. Here's Luella, here's Pembroke. Here's the existing house. Here's that large gable and covered porch, which faces Luella. And then it has, a one-story rotunda area. And then this is where we're proposing the addition. So basically it is kind of two pieces of a two-story addition, as well as a covered porch here. And then a additional patio area that ties into an existing patio. And then this area right here is currently a one-story structure with a long shed roof. So we'll be building up over top of that. And just for clarification, this was actually one large property and was subdivided. So Paul and Lindsay Schuster own both these properties. This is kind of the original carriage house for the main house, but that's now its own separate property. So we're just dealing with this property here, 348. So just, oh yeah.
Can you discuss a little about the removal of the chimneys?
Sure. So I can kind of jump into that when we look at the elevations.
Okay.
But basically they're not, they're not attached to fireplaces. Well, the one in the front is, but it's a fireplace in a really strange spot. So we just would rather have the square footage there. And the chimneys aren't really, in my opinion, of any architectural significance. They're just.
So they're not original to the house, as far as you know?
I believe they are, but they're not. I can jump to pictures in just a minute.
Okay.
So here are the surrounding houses. So, across the street on Luella, across the street on Pembroke. This is the adjacent house on Luella. And then, a catty corner house, and then the adjacent house on Pembroke. So you can see it's kind of an eclectic mix of architectural styles. And then I just pulled these other photos from similar houses on South Wayne and in the neighborhood, which show kind of a similar style with the large gable, the bay windows, and then also the shed dormers that come off the sides. And so here's the existing house. Again, this is facing Luella. This is all the existing. This is the side elevation that faces the carriage house property. So this is just facing the adjacent property. And as you can see, it's kind of a mix of gables and half timbers. And this is the portion of the house, the 1-story portion, that will be making into a 2-story. But this part is not visible from the street.
I have a question while we're on these pictures. Could you highlight, please, the chimneys you're planning to remove?
Yeah, so it's this one up here,
Okay,
and then this one back here.
okay. And the heating system, the current HVAC does not require those chimneys for exhaust?
No, so we'll be reventing the one that goes through here.
Okay,
But that one's not necessary. So this is where the addition will happen. So we're going to get this will be 2-story in this portion. And then again, this one seems, I mean, I don't see a lot of merit in keeping that, but certainly if that's a deal breaker, we can keep it, but we
well,
don't
what
need
does
it.
it lead to?
It leads to a little fireplace in this front room, but it's just kind of jammed up in the corner, so the owners would never use it.
Does that mean subsequent owners would not be able to use it?
Yes, so we would remove the interior fireplace.
Okay, thank you for explaining that.
I can show you pictures of the fireplace if that's helpful.
No, we don't comment on the inside.
Okay. Okay. And then
And that other chimney in the back, what does it currently lead to?
so there's a chimney in the family room that will stay. So the main fireplace of the house will stay, and that chimney will remain.
Okay,
So here's that 1-story portion of the rotunda. Here's the front of the house. Here's the rear. So the addition is basically happening back here. And this is the view facing Pembroke Avenue. So as you can see, there's, right now there's a lot of planting in front of the house. So it's a little difficult to see, this is the house back there, which is really what the best view of the addition would be, is from Pembroke. And so here's some of the drawings that from 1926. Originally the house seemed, and I'm not even sure if this is really significant, but the house originally had more of a Dutch gable look, and then was kind of rebranded as Tudor, where they added these half timbers. So we're trying to match more what was done more recently, the 1926, with the half timbers. And you can see they raised the pitch of some of these roofs. So here are the proposed elevations. This is the front elevation facing Luella. This is all existing. This is the only portion of the addition that you'd be able to see from Luella. And even this part, it's a little deceiving, but this part is already, it's going to be almost 40 feet set back from the front elevation. So even though it looks it's flat on the elevation, it's really set back far from the front porch. Then here on the side elevation, again, this is the front porch. This all stays the same. This is all existing. This is all existing. This is one of the windows that we're modifying. It's already off center on the gable, and we're just enlarging it a little bit to get some more light into the kitchen area.
Juliet, could you go up to that first elevation there?
Yes.
First one. Just want to be certain that does the roof line of the proposed addition go right up to the roof line of the main house?
Yes. So
Right up to the roof line of the main house.
yes. So it does not go above it. It actually, so this is the rear elevation of the addition. So
Okay.
this roof line of the addition matches this, and it basically continues straight through. So if you look at just an aerial view of it, here's the front. So basically this is that main gable, and we're just continuing that out.
Okay, so you're going to meet the roof line of the main house with this addition.
Yeah, so we're basically mirroring what's happening in the front on the rear of the house
Okay.
to add the square footage.
It seems to me, in my opinion, that what we do on our board, we would like to have the roof line of the main house be more prominent than the roof line of an addition.
Okay. Okay, let me show you then. So basically we're kind of just matching what's happening. Right now, what's existing is it still has that main gable portion. It's just kind of cut off. So we're just pulling that portion over this one-story shed. So this kind of part goes away. So,
What is the total square footage of the proposed addition and porch?
so the addition, I think we're at 519 altogether. Yeah, 519 of new building coverage.
Okay, that's, well within the living area of the main house, so I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with us? Before I bring
Sure.
another question?
I'll
No.
just jump down to the rendering. So this is the view that you would see from Pembroke. Again, this is the new addition portion. This is the covered porch. We just tried to keep, the roof pitched the same to match the windows in terms of the casement style with those narrow sight lines, and just generally the proportion of all the elements of it to match the existing.
Could you discuss a little about your plans for the windows, restoration or replacement is in your plans?
So we're definitely getting some new windows. It's probably going to end up being a mix of restored windows and brand new windows.
Okay.
I have a comment on the large expanse of French doors, windows.
Mhm.
The house did not have anything like that. And it seems that's a very large expanse of floor to ceiling windows in an area that's going to be extremely visible. I mean, if this addition was going to be in the back of the house and nobody could really see it, we just had a comment on it, I would let it go. But this is extremely visible and not really you've been so conscientious about the design of the rest of the house. This seems to glare out to me that the design of it doesn't really fit.
So
So
this is,
I was wondering how we can make a door, and a window, and make the look of what you are putting on there more in keeping with what the rest of the house looks like.
Right. So this is the rear elevation. So this is tucked back, so you would never see this portion from Luella.
Right, but very visible from Pembroke.
It's set fairly far back, and the existing house does have a number of large windows back there.
Right, but they're not floor to ceiling.
They have ones in the rotunda that are in that portion. So, this.
Well, that's a door.
Right.
That's a door. And
Oh, the other ones are doors too.
The other ones are doors also.
Those are not
That's the-
all doors.
They are doors, yes.
They're all doors?
We might make, a couple of these fixed, but the plan is to, be able to come out onto the covered porch and come out onto the patio from the living spaces inside.
I understand that, but I go back to my comment, could you make the doors and the windows rather than they all look like they could be doors?
I suppose we could. If that's.
I just think that has a much more modernist look to it than the Victorian that you're trying to fit in with.
Okay.
Maybe I can just ask a question. Our preference is to have those all as doors so that we can open them up and exit entirely to the outside and have living space between interior and exterior. So given that, do you have a suggestion on how to accomplish that within our design?
Could you go back to the rotunda picture that you just showed, Juliet? Because I think maybe I can definitely see what you're trying to accomplish, Paul, and I hear you on that in terms of what modern living is like. But I wonder if the rotunda door design, perhaps, Juliet, could help inform the style of the door that you use back there. It's a little hard to tell because it's a rendering, but you certainly have a template here for something that could work. That's a floor to ceiling door.
Okay. Yeah, so we did try to match, how the proportion of how the panes are broken up on each door panel. We do have a couple more of them. What we could look at is, breaking them up into two, as the existing house has, just a pair of doors. Would it help to break these into two separate, instead of a four?
Yeah, I think that visually that would make a lot more sense.
Okay.
And for better or worse, I mean, the style was a very heavy look on those doors, and what is presented here, I think I see what Sarah's saying. It's a much lighter, more modern look as opposed to the darker, heavier, less glass look.
And I certainly understand. I'm sitting with my back to a picture window. I'm all about a lot of light, but unfortunately, we as a board are tasked with really making sure that what you put there looks like it was always there.
Right.
Juliet, you as an architect have really presented such a very competent and sensitive rendering. This really sticks out, and I'm wondering if the owners would be amenable to making it a pair of doors with that, modified arch at the top. Would that serve?
Yeah. To be fair to Juliet, this was obviously not Juliet's decision. Juliet's trying to help us accomplish what we're trying to achieve. In a perfect world, I think Lisa, you were getting at it. We're trying to open up the space to live in a more modern environment, and those doors, in my view, would be pretty much like trifold or quadfold iron doors. They're to make it into individual doors kind of defeats what we're trying to do. And so I'm not saying no, right? Obviously it would behoove me to say no, but I'm just wondering if there is a way or there's some other avenue we can explore to make that space what we had intended it to be. And we're certainly open to suggestions. I certainly don't have any. Juliet's tried to help us as best she can.
I am an engineer. I am not an architect by training. So my comments need to be limited to that design does not reflect the rest of the house. I would not be willing to issue a certificate of appropriateness. What I would like to offer you instead, and we have as a board do this pretty regularly, is to offer you a continuance. You won't have to pay a second fee. And perhaps you can put your heads together, understanding what we're looking for, and come up with a design that works for us and for you. I don't, and we can't get involved in telling you what to do. We only need to tell you, you need to do something.
Sure. And maybe you can just help me with your comment around being highly visible and how you think about that relative to, say, temporary structures that are there today, right? So there's a fence that pretty much covers the whole thing, and then hedges that you'd pretty much never be able to see past. Help me think through
And
that.
plants die, and we need to be cognizant that the ability to see the house will change over time. I mean, where I live, there's probably 40 fewer trees than when I moved in 20 years ago. We take out many trees, and Mother Nature takes out many trees, and I've had fences rot away. So it's not a question of the fact that there's a fence there and trees there today. I mean, you're putting a lot of money into this, and it's going to be for the future. So I really think that we need to resolve this in such a way that if all that goes away and it's perfectly visible from the street, it's our purpose as a board to make sure that it looks like it's always been part of the house.
Okay, understood.
And actually, if I could just add one point, and I just want to say this is my second meeting ever, so I'm a bit flying in the dark here. So Bob, please feel free to corral me back in if this is inappropriate. But one thought I had just on that last, sort of picking up on what Sarah said there, that we're a little bit guided by wanting this to feel like it maintains the original intent. If you could go back to that drawing from 1929, Juliet.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, and I certainly don't think this is something to hold up the whole conversation, but the chimneys are certainly very prominent, even I would say in the design at that time. And I heard you say taking out 2 chimneys, reventing one, closing off one on the inside. I guess, you know, you also commented, Juliet, that it wasn't sort of a deal breaker. I would love to see the chimneys stay as they honor, you know, the original way people lived when the home was built, and they're certainly represented prominently in the drawing. So I'd just love for you to really consider keeping those if possible.
If there's no physical reason to remove them, I agree that they should stay.
The only comment I'd make is that they need to be entirely rebuilt as they are today. That they're severely damaged.
On
So
the exterior or the interior?
Everything from the roof up would need to be rebuilt.
On the
And so
exterior?
on the exterior, that's right. And so we'd be rebuilding something that would be non-functional.
Yeah, and I know we're not really discussing the interior, but we do need that space on the interior. So technically we could, you know, build a structure within the roof structure to hold up a masonry chimney, but it would just be a fake chimney at that point. But I mean, if that was necessary.
I have a question. You did mention that at least one of those chimneys is still somewhat functional. One of the front chimneys.
So this one is one that's going away, and this one is going away. This one, it would be the one that's in what's currently the family room. So that's kind of the main chimney there. So this one would stay.
Okay. But there was another one of the other two.
Yeah, these two.
that is still somewhat functional as a chimney?
There's a vent, I think, that goes out through here as
Mhm.
best we can see.
There's a fireplace in a small room, you said, in the front?
Yeah, but because this chimney is in such bad disrepair, we can't use that fireplace.
I don't know that we can compel you to keep it. But we certainly recommend strongly that if you're going to spend all this money on an addition, that you commit a little bit of extra money to fix that chimney because it's so prominent. It's in the front of the house. It's in the original design. And it really would make a statement of preservation if you could keep it.
This one.
Yeah. And if it, you know, it would allow a future owner of your house to use that fireplace if they so choose.
I agree.
Okay. As far as just to jump back to the windows in the back, the window doors, is it possible instead of getting a continuance to agree to split those into doubles? And
We would
continue?
need to see a revised design. I don't think we're at a point now where we can allow you to go forward because we would issue a certificate of appropriateness of something we've never seen.
Okay.
So I would make a motion that that we offer the applicant a continuance to a future month so that the door window design can be revised in such a way that it would allow the design to look like it was always part of the house.
And also too, I'd like to add that possibly revisiting, preserving at least one chimney. Any other further comments from the board?
Juliet, as possible, you know, if you could, you know, I don't know what your plans are for sourcing these doors as you start to move forward, but if possible, even to see, you know, manufacturer sort of pictures of similar manufactured items, because from the drawing, it's going to be, again, you know, sort of difficult to see how they match with the rotunda doors or however you're going to make them look like they fit.
Okay.
Juliet, is there a way that we can show them the doors that come off of the dining room? Because those are also floor to ceiling doors.
Sure.
That, just to show that there are like a couple sets of those doors in the back of the house already. I don't think that.
I understand what you're saying. A door here, a door there. You know, that makes sense, but you're creating a whole wall of windows. And that was not a Victorian feature. And I recognize that you want it because, but see, that's a French doors with normal height windows beside them. That's not 4 full length doors. It's just a pair of French doors.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think we understand your point. I'm just, you know, I'm just not sure how visible those actually are under a 12-foot deep covered porch. But I understand.
And again, I also agree that we should issue a continuance so you can go and think about some of our suggestions and see whether or not they would be reasonable to you to be done.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to offer a continuance. Is there a second?
Second.
I also say aye, the board offers a continuance and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for
Thank you.
presenting to us.
It's going to be beautiful, Juliet and Schuster's. It really looks gorgeous.
Okay. Next order of business is Harb 2021-05, 419 Oak Lane, Wayne, PA. One-story addition to rear of existing single-family residence. Please introduce yourself and share your plans.
All right, my name's Cam Lacey, architect representing Lee and Allison.
I'm sorry, Cam.
Yeah.
Before we get into your presentation, I'd like to offer a little bit of background on this property.
Oh, sure.
Radnor Township records say it is a contributing property. It was built between 1890 and 1910. Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey says it is the former residence of architect Francis A. Gugert. The likely architect of the house is Mr. Gugert, who lived from 1873 to 1939 and attended Drexel Institute, now Drexel University, and the University of Pennsylvania. He maintained an independent architectural practice in Wayne, PA. Delaware County property records say the house was built in 1895. The building area is 3,586 square feet living. The exterior walls are wood.
Sounds about right. It's a colonial revival, and it's listed as a contributor to the township. I'm going to try to get this to share, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this. So wait a minute. I'm very new at this, so just hang in there for a second. Share screen. Desktop, share. You guys seeing a really old Jeep?
Is that
Yeah.
yours?
Okay, yeah, I'm restoring that.
Pretty cool.
Okay, now I'm going to show you what really matters. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the site plan that's existing. And you can see Oak Lane here. North is off of this way. It's a cross gable, kind of the 2.5 story piece with a main gable facing backwards towards the rear, and then a smaller dormer gable up front. And then this is a shed roof over a large front porch. And off of the back of the house is a shed here, which used to house, the typical utility room of this age house. And it was kind of taken over and made into kitchen space. And then there's a deck that kind of goes along this outline that I think filled this whole space. And then on top of the deck, a previous owner put up kind of a prefab sun porch, which has virtually a flat roof on it. And then there's a leftover deck portion here, and you step down to a little flagstone terrace. And then there's an existing double gable garage, and that kind of completes everything. And as you can see, it's a very narrow lot. And this is the building envelope, your allowable buildable area if you were to build something new today. So it's very non-conforming. And so what we're trying to do is basically take this piece that doesn't match anything on the house, and the deck piece is all falling apart, and rebuild this area. And then this roof line, we'd like to extend a little bit. So we're going to rebuild this, but it'll be a shed that comes across. There'll be a hip here, and then it returns back into the house. And the reason for that is to try to keep this roof line shed-like and low to maintain the main massing of the house. So I can go to second one. This is the proposed site plan, which shows, I messed that. Here we go. We overbuild this area of the existing roof and come around, and here's that hip, and then you return back into And this is a two-story space. This is a two-story, well, it's 2.5-story main body of the house. The only other thing that happens in this shed roof line is that in this area here, we pop up a shed dormer that allows you to get more light in this elevation. And then at the top of the stair landing, there's a really deep window that we'll need to do a little recess in the roof for that to stay. So that's and then we'll recreate a deck back here, taking the terrace out and everything else. And there's no work to be done on the garage. It stays as is.
And have you got approval for impervious?
We are up to the max. We're going to take a few things away and end up being after we've done all the additions, we're less than when we started with.
Okay.
So we really worked hard to do that. This is the front of the house, the existing. You can see the large porch and large columns. It's got two kind of box bays, center double here, and then you've got a Palladian window in this main gable dormer. And one of the key features of this house is this roof line where it comes down and flares out and then returns along the side with like a pent roof. You can see kind of a minimal version of this where it's broken, but all of the roofs kind of do that. This one even, returns back and has a little pent roof along the side. So it allows you to bring gutter lines around, and it gives a very deep overhang, which is nice. The rear of the house, you can kind of see how that roof works. And this is typical. This one even returns and does the same thing. So we're keeping this space, and all I'm doing is taking this roof line and extending it out further for cover. And in order to do that, we have to change the pitch because I can't get into this window. But if you take this line across, you can see where I have to do a little cutout here. And this is the kind of the prefab sunroom, which they use a lot, but it's not in any keeping with the house, and it's, leaks air and all that kind of stuff. So, this is the piece we want to take out. We want to take out this deck piece and this deck piece. And then we're basically taking this line around, and there'll be a hip line that comes over this way and then goes back into this facade. So this window is unaffected. There's a window back here that goes to a dining room, which will become a door internally. And then I think I have a better picture of some of these other. But basically the windows, they're 9/1s, except for a few which have multiple lights. And this has got a transom, and we're going to mimic that in the addition. But most of them are sort of 9/1 or just multiple sash lights. The neighbors, this is to the right of the main. This is the house we're talking about. You've got a thin side yard, and then this is a gabled in house here. So, there's not a whole lot of opportunity to see any of this addition work back here. So that's really not an issue from this elevation. This is the other side, and this is kind of a shingle style with a lot of cool gabling going on here and some stonework. And this is the owner's driveway. So it's, as I showed in the site plan, it's pretty narrow. Across the street, these are the Bruin cottages that run down the line. There's probably 4 or 5 of them there. And then I'll go, this is our house. This is the detailing that we're going to copy. It's got big show sills, a smaller trim on the sides, and then it's got a nice big, kind of a crowned cap on top that sheds water. This is a double hung, you can see is a 9/9. And then you have this one, which is just a 6. And then the baseline doesn't have a big band. It just has a, kind of an under crown that gets you to flare that shingle out. So everything that you see here is what we're going to be doing, and also the stone base. All these things are going to be recreated in the addition work. So in the rear elevation, these windows are all existing. And this gable exists. This is the main body. So this is the roof line that we're going to extend a bit. And then also do the flare back into the existing house. And then as it comes along, we break it and make a shed roof here to get this higher window capability, and then bring it back down on this side. And this is a little side porch that gets you into the back of the house with a stair. And this dotted line is the garage, which is towards us. I'm looking through it. So if it was there, you wouldn't see this portion of the house. And then I also took the deck work out just so you can see what we're doing here. This is an existing opening with the triple slider that is, I think it's basically an aluminum, small framed, big glass, no mullion kind of a setup. And what we'd like to do is replace that with, these would be double sliders, but they're all Frenched, in divided light kind of a look, to bring more of this feel back into this opening. And then these are kind of trying to mimic this idea up here. We're trying to do the 9/1 and then do a transom above, and we may break it up a little more with some of the other mullions like this. But in a kitchen that's deep, when you have a countertop, all of a sudden these windows get kind of small to start with. So we really needed to extend the ceiling line to get a transom light in there to push light back in. And I didn't want to have this roof and this wall as high at this point all the way across to get that light, because the scale of it would be kind of grotesque. you'd have more wall here than roof line, and it would look really out of scale. So that's why we did this little break here. Then the base would get a stone, anything that you would see would have a stone base. And then we would also do a light. The door over here would match this door over here, but it's a single. And then as you go to, I've got to go to, let's see. I'm stuck. There it is. So this is the east elevation, which is towards the gabled end side. And these are all existing windows on this elevation. And then this would be the new addition work here. So we're ganging up 2 here, which is kind of what some of the other areas are doing. So we have triple, double, but all the same, detailing I showed you in the photograph. And so here's the shed roof coming down with the flare that returns, and it has a covered porch, and then that's the little piece that pops up. And then there's the flare again up top that you see everywhere else. And then this is the existing garage. So, the idea is to keep this at the same kind of level that the original addition is. And as you expand it, maintain that scale and keep the second floor, the 2.5-story piece prominent. So that's this idea, is to keep it all on a smaller scale. So all this is was a cedar siding that was replaced with a hardy shingle. I mean, it was a cedar shingle that was all replaced with a hardy shingle, and we're going to do that as well. The other thing I'm doing here is I'm indenting this wall surface from this wall surface, so that this main body continues to read as one, and this is back a little bit. So that's the other thing I'm trying to do to maintain, the scale of the main house. I'm not sure why it's not going to the next one. I'll get the side. I'll do it that way, the old-fashioned way. So on the other side of the house, can you guys see the whole thing? Or do you have people on the right side and can't see stuff? You can see can you see the front porch?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I can't see it.
That's okay. I mean, we have the paper copy too.
Oh, good. That's right. I forgot.
We do, others don't, but we do.
Okay. So on this side, the only thing that's different about the rest of the house is this is actually a box bay. that hangs out, doesn't have a foundation, but it still has the 9/1s and a little roof line. And then this is actually a back stair. You know, this is one of the few houses in the old neighborhoods where the back stair still exists. And they're thrilled with it, they're keeping it, and they use it all the time. So this is one of those little windows that grabs that back stair, and you can see how that reads like that. This is an existing window, and there's no window here now. And this roof line stops about right here. So you can see we're going to extend that out to get cover over the back door, and then we're going to add 2 windows to match this exactly. So that'll be, you know, we'll get this whole room to have a double and a double. And then here's that little shed that pops up to give you that more light. And then there's the garage in the background. So I think that's everything in the list of, yeah, that's everything there. I mean, I think this one is really, you know, just highlights, you know, when you're doing any of these kinds of details, you know, I think this has a triple track storm on it. And, you know, they've replaced the siding. This is an older picture. And the shutters are real, and they've got hinges and they close. If you took the triple tracks off, they would actually close and be the right scale and the right size. The idea is to kind of try to bring these back to life. And then whatever's new is to make them, you know, it's like an Anderson E series or something like that, but it has the same coloration, the same, you know, thickness of mull, and then the same light design. So, and it's very easy to recreate, you know, these kinds of casings. So I don't think, you know, we have any trouble maintaining this whole look all the way through. And I think the idea of trying to, you know, keep the scale of this thing, keep this low to maintain this 2.5 story, you know, massing, I think it all sort of makes it work together. And then if you were to take, you know, typically these additions of these older houses, they have a shed roof that's a long shed roof. Sometimes it's really long and it goes way up the house. And they have to do some gymnastics. Sometimes they'll curve it. Sometimes they'll, you know, do some other things to it. If we were to do that on this side and just keep this shed all the way across and have it come up, you know, from here to here, we'd be up into that 2nd story window. Plus, from this side, the scale of that will look way out of scale for what it's doing. So I think the idea of breaking this, you know, and returning it back in and keeping it low and maintaining that eave line all the way around makes it feel a lot more in scale. So, and, you know, and it's also kind of, you know, I always have this thing about, you really don't want to put more of an addition on a house than 1/3 of the house, and we're sort of there on that. So the footprint is, you know, we're maintaining that kind of relationship. So
I agree.
So that's kind of everything. And I don't know, apologize for the sketchiness of this, but we tried to get this in quickly and make this meeting. We have to go through zoning, and I wanted to get enough here that everybody could understand it. The footprint is fixed, and the zoning is just going to be one of those, it's non-conforming, and we've got to, you know, we're not doing anything to increase non-conformities, and the total square feet is less than I think this is you know, we have these things that are existing, and by the time we take off and put things back, we're, you know, 50 square feet or so less. So they all like that kind of stuff. And as long as you're, you know, I'm indenting here, and this is already indented on that side. So as long as you stay within the side existing sides, you're fine. And we've got, you know, that is a backyard setback. So we're in good shape for that. But anyhow, I'm just, you know, I wanted you to kind of be able to see where we're headed with this one.
Very
Thank you.
sensitively done, Cam. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
I would like to propose, if nobody has any other questions.
Well, I mean, mine is so minor, but I saw on page 9, you called out the stone base, and then I see on your drawing, you're going to try to duplicate that with a 2-inch stone veneer and stucco. Do I have that right?
Well, what I have here is an option. I think we're gonna get rid of the stucco option because it's not that many square feet, and we can go ahead and do this in stone and match as close as we can. It's a field stone. We should be able to match it pretty well. We're also going into corners. You know, you're not trying to match a face. So when you go into corners with stone, it's more forgiving. So I think that was an original, when we were bidding in this, I put that in there for a bidding, you know, kind of a number change or range. And what we'd really like to do is keep it stone all the way around.
Yeah, I guess all I would say is, you know, it's hard from just stucco finish and 2-inch stone veneer to get a sense of what it would look like, but I would just advocate to keep it as close as possible to that original look there.
Yeah, well, this is why I included these, because these are the things that are really going to drive all these details.
Great, very helpful.
And
Thank
this,
you.
like I say, this is a pretty easy stone. Some of the black granites and whatnot are a little harder to match up, but these are pretty easy to do. So I think we'll be fine on that.
Looks good.
So this is already here. So I think we're okay with that. But the back we'll probably still do stone under here because decks can disappear. And you know how people sometimes do a stone and stop and then do a deck and then start it up again. And I don't want to have that as a scar later on in life. So it's not that many square feet to just keep going with it. And then, you know, you put the deck on and then you're fine forever.
Right.
So
Thank you.
That's the idea there.
Well, what else more can I say except that there's back stairs there, right? And you got double pane windows. I love the back stairs, you know.
Yeah, I've had a lot of houses that I've come across where they've already been taken out. It makes me sad.
It's
And
sad.
whenever I get them and they're there, I
Yeah.
really am adamant about keeping them, even though they're, you know,
Sure.
when you take them out, there's that special little amount of square feet, but I always kind of say, well, that doesn't matter. You want the stair. So yeah, it's and they use it too. It's really, and this is a bigger house. Some of the smaller houses, the gabled ends that have double stairs, they're really redundant in a way because the house isn't big enough.
Mhm.
But this is one of these. This is a different house. There's 2 houses maybe on this street that are different, and this is a bigger house because it's a colonial kind of a house, and so it's a little wider. So it has a big stair in the middle. It has a grand landing that has that. Has this big double glass, there's a seat where, it's gorgeous, and that blows light all the way through into the foyer. And then, off to the side is this little winder kind of a thing that they still use, and it comes right out into where they want to be. So I don't see that going anywhere.
Well, it's definitely an architect's house from an architect.
Yes.
Would a fine job. What else more can I say?
Well, thank you.
Any further comments from the board?
I would like to make a motion that we offer a certificate of appropriateness.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to recommend a certificate of appropriateness. The motion has been seconded. I also say yay enthusiastically. The motion carries. The board recommends a certificate of appropriateness. Thank you for sharing your plans with us. Congratulations.
Thank you all for reviewing.
Thank you.
Can I ask you one question?
Thanks, Cam. Thank you to the board.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you guys were here.
Yeah, Lisa, Allison, Morocco, we're the homeowners.
Yes.
So.
The next Board of Commissioners meeting, do you guys remember when that is?
I believe it's next Monday.
I think it is next Monday, yes.
Okay, and so will these be looked at in that one or the next one?
They should be, I think, for this upcoming one in the consent agenda.
Okay. Because we're trying to get a grading permit in.
Well, is Andy still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I believe if Lisa can hear me, if she can jump in, Lisa Curry, that it should be on the next BOC consent agenda, which I believe is next Monday.
Okay, I just didn't know if you could turn it around that quickly. That'd be great. Okay, well, thank you for your time, and this has been fun. I didn't know how this was going to work, and it worked really well. I didn't screw up any of my technology here, so I think that's I'm really happy about that most of all.
It's always a win.
Cam, you need to unshare though now as well, so we can.
Okay, I'll figure out how to do that, and I'll say goodnight to you all.
Thank you.
All right, let me see.
Thanks again, Cam.
All right, see you guys.
We can depend on you.
Here, I'm leaving.
See you, Cam.
Cheers.
Okay, rolling along here. Next order of business is Harb 2021-06, 207 Upland Way, Wayne, PA. Install replacement windows, replace existing deck with no change to the footprint, enclose part of a new deck with screened-in porch. Please introduce yourself and share your plans with us.
Good evening, I'm Baker Bell.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get into your presentation, I would like to offer some basic background on this property. According to Radnor Township records, they say it is a non-contributing property. Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey says it's also a non-contributing property. Zillow says the house was built in 1955. And Delaware County property records say that the house was built in 1955. The building area is 2,017 square feet living. The exterior walls are shingles. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. I'm Baker Bell, and this is my wife, Debbie. And as you heard, we want to install replacement windows and replace the existing deck and enclose part of the new deck with a screened-in porch. I'm going to try and share my screen here. This will be a first time. Let's do that. Oh, I'm going to hit share. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, we can see that part.
Okay, great.
Yay.
Oh, it only shows one page. Oof.
We have the printed copies, so that's okay.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to close this. Screen share has stopped. So if you go to the beginning of the document, you will see an overhead view of the area that we would like to enclose with screening. The dimensions are 11 by 21. Then if you continue on, there is a view looking west. And then there's another view from the rear. And then there is another view looking east. Additionally, there are some renderings of the windows. They will be Pella replacement windows, 4/1. We will be replacing triple track storm windows. Additionally, we will be replacing a Pella sliding door, dual sliding door with a Geldwen sliding door. And then finally, on the rear elevation, we would like to install a 4-part door. It's center sliding, four panels total that will lead out to the screened-in porch. And then the balance is photographs of all four sides, as well as the neighboring properties. Additionally, on the plans, it shows some of the materials and the colors and the details.
So my question is, you're replacing all of the windows throughout,
Yes,
around the house with this 4/1?
yes,
So they'll all match,
Yeah,
although
yes.
that's not what's there now.
right.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understood.
Yes,
And this is all in back of the house.
And it's all in the back of the house.
Okay.
So
Yes.
it's not visible at all from the street,
that's correct.
Okay.
but the windows would be.
Yes,
Are you doing anything to the picture window in the front?
Yes,
we're replacing that as well.
And is it going to look the same?
Yes,
actually, the grill work will be slightly different. It'll be slightly less, slightly fewer panes. We're going to do 4/4 or 4x4. And currently, you want to go count them? Or- I think it's 8/8 now.
yes,
Currently,
something like that. Yeah.
8 paint,
There's just
64.
a few
paint.
less panes in the picture window, but essentially the same.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
Any further comments from the board? Do we have
Well,
a motion?
I will make the motion to offer a certificate of appropriateness.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion for certificate of appropriateness. The motion was seconded. I also say aye. Motion carries, and the board recommends a certificate of appropriateness. Congratulations, and thank you for presenting to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. What are my next steps? When can I receive the certificate?
Next week at the Board of Commissioners meeting, will be what's called the consent agenda. Your attendance is not required at the BOC meeting. The consent agenda is a list of business that is approved in one vote. And once that is done, the certificates will go out.
They'll be sent out or they'll be emailed or?
I don't know if Lisa mails them or emails them, but
You will be
yes,
contacted. You come in and sign it, and then
you come
we'll give you a copy.
Okay, so I will come in
You'll be
person.
contacted.
yeah, you'll be contacted after the Board of Commissioners meeting.
And what is the date of that, please?
I believe it's this coming Monday.
Okay,
If you check on the township website on the calendar, if you go to the calendar, it'll list the next BOC meeting. And probably by Friday or Monday morning, you could click on it again and look at the agenda and the, what's the topics, and you'll see yourself listed on there.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Our next order of business is Harb 2021-07, 309 Conestoga Road, Wayne, PA. We will not be reviewing that case for this meeting. That will be for another time.
This is the owner. May I ask a question?
Sure.
I had heard at the beginning when they had indicated that there was not going to be a quorum, that you said that you had some questions on this property, and I've seen other properties be continued. Is there a possibility that we can get some feedback or some information or know what information to bring at the next meeting?
No, this is for 309 Conestoga Road.
Correct.
Okay. No, what we have, why we couldn't go and hear your case this evening is because there's a conflict of interest with one of our current board members.
I understand.
Who are on this call.
Correct.
So we have another board member, and hopefully for another upcoming meeting, you can present what you've originally wanted to present. And we'll have that additional board member there to help us have that forum.
Oh, I understand that. I understand why I'm being continued. My question is, you had indicated that you were fine with the continuance because you had some questions about this property. And I was wondering if you could give us some information so that we could be more prepared for the next hearing when we do present it, that we are prepared to answer whatever questions it was that you have about the property.
Well, I'll bring that up at the next meeting when we meet. I think that would be most appropriate because the things I would like to share as some opinions that I have and some suggestions would be with our other board member. So that board member can also give input too. And also the other board member, we have a quorum of 3.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All righty. Next order of business is Harb 2021-08, 310 Midland Avenue, Wayne, PA. New second floor addition over existing sunroom, renovation of sunroom. Please introduce yourself and share your plans with us.
Hi, I'm Alex Rice. I am with Archie Buchanan Architecture. I am the architect for Catherine Reamer, the property owner.
I'm sorry, Alex. I'd like to, sorry to interrupt, but I just like to bring up some basic information on this property.
Of course.
According to Radnor Township records, they say it is a contributing property. According to Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey, has no information. Zillow says the house was built in 1920. Delaware County property records say the house was built in 1930. Its building area is 3,392 square feet living. Its exterior walls are stucco.
Okay. So first sheet here, we have the site plan. We're coming off of essentially the south side of Midland Avenue. There is an existing sunroom to the west of the house, as shown on the first 3 elevations up at the top. And what the owners are interested in doing is the existing house now is this is the master bedroom. And on this side is there's the 2 children's bedrooms and then a big central stair corridor. And then here on the front of the house is the bathroom that serves all 3 bedrooms. So what they're interested in doing is creating this addition to serve as a master bath and partial closet for that. So the concept is to take the existing footprint of the existing sunroom and to essentially maintain the sunroom. Here, I'll zoom in. By the way, there's some really nice projects tonight. Wish ours was exciting, as exciting.
You are lucky at times.
Well, Wayne's a great area for nice projects. So the idea is to maintain, we're actually going to set back, we'll see in the pictures on the next sheet, the sunroom is in the same plane as the front of the house. We're actually going to set it back about 1.5 feet, 2 feet to create a little bit of a reveal, a shadow line. Going to maintain the same column dimension and detail on the corners. Here, we're going to create kind of a new infill, but the concept is here is to course out with the second floor plan, floor elevation to create a new space for the homeowners. And then kind of renovate and re-infill the sunroom, recreate the sunroom. They love the sunroom. And windows, we're going to match the existing windows. On the front of the house, we have the 8/1s. Since this is such a small addition, we're going with the 6/1. Right now we are looking at doing Pella Architect Reserve windows. This would be a 6/1 just proportionately because it's just a smaller massing. All details, the sill, shutters, etc., to match the existing. Instead of the existing house, you'll see in the images is a smooth stucco. We are proposing to do a artisan hardy plank, artisan lap siding, which is that really thick dimensional, really nice shadow line, 7-inch exposure. To put stucco on top of a sunroom, just material wise to us it reads wrong to have something that heavy, on top of kind of a light structure. We're presenting on the sides a very low pitch roof. We would go either copper or a really nice dark bronze anodized standing seam roof. We want to maintain, this is finished space for their house, this 3rd floor. We want to come in underneath those windows so that they can maintain those windows. This elevation is purposefully left without fenestration, as the neighbor, being a bathroom and closet, they don't need or want windows, and the neighbor's house obviously would look directly into the bathroom. And the rear elevation is obviously where they're interested in bringing in much more natural light. Here are the immediately adjacent properties, which I'm sure you know well. They're all, this wonderful, Wendell and Smith, shingle style, Queen Anne. Our house, which is directly across the street, more colonial revival, is really the anomaly on the block. And so here is the existing sunroom, enclosed sunroom, existing post on the corner, and what we're proposing is to take it up and again infill this back corner here with the new addition. And then just walking around the immediate neighborhood, trying to look at other, it's hard to find too many comparables, but a little further down, St. David's, something's very similar at 412. There's this really nice enclosed sunroom with some enclosed space above. If you jump over to Orchard Way, a couple other really nice 2-story structures on the side, the enclosed sunroom. This is an open porch. At 231, the period restoration from last year, really nice enclosed space here. Same idea, the standing seam, copper roof. And then these are just examples of kind of more 2-story, I'll say additions or side structures to the main historic house. I wish there was more exciting design to share with you, but that's kind of what they're looking for and what we're doing.
Could you go back to the comparables that you were showing? I think those were really useful. So looking at 412 St. David's in particular, you commented that you felt stucco read wrong over the covered porch. Can you just comment on this property in particular? Because it looks like that is stucco over the covered porch.
You are correct.
But it's
to me,
it's much
to me,
larger though, too. That structure looks like it's much larger than the one that you're proposing, Alex.
It looks like it does look like it's a foot or two wider for sure. My initial reaction is
more windows that would lighten it also.
I'm sorry?
It has more windows along the long edge. It has windows
on
there.
second floor, correct.
That would certainly
Correct.
lighten the structure, lighten it weight wise.
Right, but if I'm thinking if it's a frame structure, you would think, traditionally you'd think like a clapboard versus you know, a stucco. Obviously, this is a continuation of the existing finishes of the house, and it reads well. Again, a little heavy. I don't know that clapboard would be inappropriate, but
Are you gonna match it at least with color? Because the way you have it displayed, it seems to be that you've chosen a much darker color than the stucco on the main structure.
I'm sorry.
The clapboard that you are specking, it doesn't look like it matches color-wise, will it?
We haven't indicated color. It would be painted.
Can the paint be the same color as the main house? Just so it doesn't scream addition as loudly as it seems to?
Yeah, the existing is kind of this gray. Absolutely, the clapboard and all the existing trim color you see is kind of a lighter off-white. You know, the existing trim would match that color, and then the base, the clapboard, could absolutely match the existing stucco color. The view from kind of the east, go there. And then this is the view from the neighbor. A lot of mature trees here, which will block it a little bit.
Would your client possibly be interested in a frosted light that would allow light to come in but not vision? In order to break up that very long plane.
Yeah, well,
A stained glass something, or a, glass blocks, or they're too heavy. But something that wouldn't allow anyone to see through it, but would still break it up and allow light to come in.
yeah, well, what I think would make the most sense is just to go ahead and put a window in that would match the rest of the house, and then just handle the view with a window treatment. If that was what was necessary, that's what I would probably suggest to them, is to take a window that's matches, is more appropriate to the main house here, and just handle it the view with a window treatment of some sort.
I think that would make it much easier on the eye. I think that would be a better design, to have some sort of window in the side of that. There is no plane of any house anywhere in Wayne that doesn't have a window in it.
Fair enough. Would you, obviously you can indicate, but
We would need to see a revised design.
right.
If all you're doing is adding a window, I assure you it'll be a very quick thing. So I would like to suggest to my fellow board members that we offer a continuance so that the architect and the client can come to some sort of decision on where that window should be placed and what it will look like and the size of it.
And I would just add also, as Sarah noted, taking great care that the addition, whether, whatever the finish is, if they want to stick with this or whatever, that it's very much mindful of looking less like an addition and more like it belongs with the rest of the house. And as you said, you didn't note the color here, but maybe that would help us get more of a sense that it's the look is very integrated.
One thing I'd like to comment on, at least as far as our board, we can recommend color, but we can't specify it. I just wanted to make that clear. We can recommend, we can suggest, but we can't specify.
Okay.
But I do like this suggestion that the addition, the top part of the addition, have a color that matches the stucco color of the main house.
Of the main field, the body of the main house. Understood.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we offer you a continuance to a future meeting at no additional charge to revise the side view, to include a window, and to let us know in writing that you have accepted our suggestion about color.
Great.
Is there a second?
Second.
I also say aye, and the board issues a continuance, and we look forward to seeing you again, Alex.
Great.
And
Thanks
thank
very
you
much.
for
I
presenting
appreciate it.
to us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any public participation? I see none. Okay. Before we make a motion to adjourn, I'd like to say that the next meeting of the Harb is scheduled for Wednesday, May 5th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Applications for the May 5th, 2021 meeting must be submitted on or before April 21st, 2021. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Okay.
I also say aye. Have a great evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today.
I apologize again for my lateness. The time got away from me.
That's okay.
Oh,
But
we
here we
missed you,
are.
Sarah.
Have a great rest of your month. See
Thank
you in
you.
May.